we are with another podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't have a name, man. I don't know what to call this shindig.
Yeah, what did you talk about before? You were like Pootsie Pod.
No.
Was it?
That's like why involve my name? It's got to be like the subject matter that I'm talking about. But
That's
I don't want
true.
to talk. I don't want to talk about one thing.
Yeah, no, you don't want to limit yourself, and then plus, if like you put your name on it, then you're also not necessarily marketing your podcast, but you're marketing yourself as an individual.
Right.
And so you want to do that because, I mean, most of the time people tune into a podcast or like a conversation or an interview because they're there for the person, not always the specifics of what they're talking about.
Right. It really is like a brand that you have to establish and build. Like, and a lot of people that do podcasts, they're sort of like that personality. Like, I think, obviously, Joe Rogan, he started with, Fear Factor, then kind of got his way into comedy, but everyone thinks of him as like, just this old wise man, but he also just doesn't give a shit. And I think that's why he attracts so many people. And he tells the truth. Like, he's just a bold individual.
Yeah. And just because, like, just to prove my point again, like, if it weren't for, like, his podcast and, like, how massively popular he's become from that, like, his comedy is, like, shot through the roof, and, like, his career's, like, grown exponentially, like, just because of this podcast he started talking with, like, friends.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. And, like, are you interested in podcasts at all? Like, is there, I'm sure you've probably tuned into Joe Rogan. Is there any other ones that you check out?
Yeah, I listen to some Joe Rogan. I honestly, I just tune in for, like, specific people I want to listen on Joe Rogan mostly, but I listen to that. I listen to, there's this informational podcast about longevity and health from Dr. Peter Attia, which I like a lot. And then I like fun, like, podcasts, like comedians like Theo Vaughn, Crystalia. Those are, like, the fun ones that you, like, get to enjoy pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, I've discovered so many people from watching Joe Rogan, like Jordan Peterson, his whole comedy clique, like, what's his name? It's one of his best friends that he brings on, and now I'm blanking on the name.
Jordan Peterson?
Not Jordan Peterson. I mean, I discovered Jordan Peterson. Yeah, Joe Rogan's friend. He brings him on for, like, the MMA show. It's like him, Brendan Schaub, Bravo. What's the other
Brian
one?
Callen?
Brian Callen. He's hilarious.
Do you like Brian Callen?
I love him, dude. I was watching The Joker with Phoenix Russell.
Yeah. And
he's in there. He has, like, a very small clip, like, little part. And I'm like, dude, that's Brian Callen. He's in the movie.
Yeah. Just another day in Chuckletown. That's like the line in it. But another comedian that, like, in Joker, he's like Arthur's getting up to go on stage to do stand up. The comedian who's like talking on the little TV right before that, I like he's like a really good comedian.
Who's that?
His name's Sam Morrill. He just came out with his special. He just posted on YouTube without any, like, sponsorship through, like, Netflix or anything, and he's, like, getting massive like attention from it.
I haven't heard of him.
Yeah, but he's pretty good. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting way to, like, promote yourself. He filmed his special himself. He didn't have any network or any he didn't get paid for it. He just sort of filmed it on his own. And now he's getting, like, he's got a bunch of ads. He's got, like, over 1 million views on it already. So that's, like,
wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting to think about how much, like, self-promotion can get you, how far it can get you.
Right, and it's also, like, the people that you know, too, right? Like, I don't know how long it took Joe Rogan to get up and off the ground, but it just started with him and his friends, but then people started tuning in and listening, and they were like, wow, who knew that just a conversation between people could be so interesting? And my theory on podcasts and why it's so popular nowadays is because we kind of forgot how to talk to each other with our phones. And then, like, with podcasts, there's really no restriction on time. But ultimately, it's just human interaction. It's people talking to each other. It's the human experience where, nowadays we're just blinded by media, social media, our phones. I mean, you could argue YouTube. It's like there's always a screen in front of us.
Yeah, and you can really like, I don't know, people utilize podcasts a lot, like especially when you're alone, you can listen to them and you feel like you're a part of the conversation, or you feel like you're their friend in some little way, like you're in with them, you know.
Did you see that Joe Rogan's coming to Des Moines?
I did.
May 15th. First date on the tour is in Des Moines.
Yeah.
I was like trying to think, like, where's he gonna go? Like, is he gonna go to the Funny Bone? That's probably too small.
No, he'll probably be at the Civic Center.
No, he's at Wells Fargo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if they'll sell it out though. Like, I don't know how much Iowa knows about him. I mean, he's pretty much global. Well, at least in terms of in here in America, like a lot of people know who he is. But I don't think he's ever been to Des Moines.
I don't know.
Maybe when you first started.
Not for comedy. I don't think he's been to Des Moines. He's like, yeah, because I don't know. He's like probably one of the only big comedians that have come to like play at Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
I've never heard of any comedian doing that before.
No, but I mean, you know, my mom was like, she's like, it's not gonna sell out. I'm like, you might be surprised. I mean, I remember he did a show with Dave Chappelle, and I don't know if that was like in Toronto. There was like a few locations where they had shows, and it was big arenas, and just sold them out. Just thousands of people just coming to see comedy, which is just crazy to me. You think of like the big bands, like the big acts, like Pink Floyd, like that's an experience in and of itself, like the performance that they put on. But no, they're coming to see comedy. I'm like, God, that would just give me so much anxiety. I get anxiety just doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, the camera's on.
Have you bought tickets? Are they on sale yet?
No, I want to go. I was gonna ask Dakota and Andrew because we all tune in and watch him, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Me, Dakota, and Joey went to the Starlight Theater, which is in Kansas, and we saw him. Yeah. It's outdoors. It seats 8,000. But we were too far away that you couldn't see his face like on the stage, so you were looking at the TV screens. And like, if you're going to see a band or somebody perform comedy, whatever it is, I don't want to, like, you can watch their comedy special on your TV, on Netflix, on YouTube. Like, if you're gonna pay to go see them, you should be able to see their face. So I was thinking this time I would spend extra money to get closer.
Yeah, now we're talking.
It's Joe Rogan.
Yeah, now we're talking.
It's Joe Rogan.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah. You got to splurge. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment completely. I mean, it's kind of cool watching like some like concerts and stuff like up in the rafters, but I totally get it. It's so much more interesting like being up close and like seeing.
Well, it's harder the more famous they get too, because like I saw Earl Sweatshirt with Dakota down in Lawrence, Kansas, but he wasn't in a huge venue, so you could get pretty close to his face, and you're like, oh, Earl's right there.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
But Rogan, I mean, he's an elite superstar for his genre, for podcasts, for MMA, for comedy. That, I mean, you got to pay a high price to go see him perform.
Yeah, no, but what are you thinking? Like on the floor, like first dozen rows?
Maybe like at an incline, so maybe not. So because he's positioned, he's going to be in the middle. That's what's so unorthodox about it, is it's not like, you know, your typical concert where, you know, you get the whole arena. He's in the middle of Wells Fargo, so cool. You're all around him.
That's cool.
He can't run away. So I don't know, maybe at like a slight incline, like maybe at one of the elevated seats to see him, but I definitely want to get close.
They have elevated seats?
Yeah, like up in the, well.
Oh, like the first level?
Yeah.
I see what you mean, yeah. Not on the floor though?
Nah, because then you gotta look over people.
Yeah, that's fair.
What if there's like tall people like you and me right in front of me? You probably wouldn't stand up at a comedy show though.
No, not until the end. Unless he like did a really good job and you give him a standing O, but yeah, you wouldn't. I don't know. Yeah, no, you don't stand up at comedy. No. Have you been to a comedy show before?
Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's about it. But it was the place that we went to. It was literally like a huge ramp that just started climbing the further that you got up. That it wouldn't have mattered if people in front of you stood up. Like, you could see. Yeah. It was just the fact that, you know, he was so far away that you couldn't see his face. And I don't know. I wasn't. It's weird. It's like I don't remember a whole lot about it. I don't really remember the jokes that he told, and I don't know why that is. Like, you would think that would be something kind of profound that you wouldn't forget, but I'm just kind of like, it's kind of foggy to me when I think about it.
Yeah, no, unless like something like really hits you hard, I don't think that's something you remember. I don't remember necessarily jokes that I hear at when I go to see comedy.
Yeah.
So I get that. Yeah.
Well, does memory ever scare you? Like, do you ever think about the things that you can't remember and you're like, why can't I remember that?
What do you mean? Like,
so, like, for instance, so for me, I can't believe I'm saying this. People are gonna watch this, but that's all right, dude. So like my first girl that I had sex with. Nice. I don't remember the first time that we had sex. I remember the first time that we attempted to have sex. So isn't that kind of weird? Because you would think that would be something that you would remember.
Yeah.
But I don't remember it. Like it's clumped together. Maybe I was anxious.
Yeah.
And when you're anxious, your brain says, "Hey, this is bad," and it just pushes it to the back. I don't know. Like that type of shit. Like and then I start traveling back and I'm like, there's like little things I remember about my childhood, but I don't remember like a good portion of it. Like it's just escaped me. It's just left.
Yeah, I think that first part actually could be like a joke, like a stand-up joke. Talking about how you don't remember your first time. First time trying to.
Maybe I should just become a comedian. That'd be my first intro joke.
Yeah, you could always try,
I do. Honestly, I've thought about not doing stand-up, but just trying to, I don't know, like maybe do open mic night and see what it's like, because I'm just tired of being an anxious person and like feeling weird when I gotta talk to people. Like obviously I like talking to people, but there's always kind of like the first initial like wall that you have to get through of like just even saying hi, to those people that you don't know. And I'm like, if you did stand-up comedy or you were like a public speaker, you probably wouldn't care as much. You'd probably still get anxious, but like just not as much.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might get anxious, but like you'll just do it no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, cause I've done open mics before. And I never got less anxious. I just like was more cool with just walking up on stage and saying, "All right, here goes this."
You tried comedy?
Yeah, I've done comedy. I've done it about like 6 or 8 times. I did in Iowa City.
Oh, really?
Just like open mic. Yeah, just like 5-minute little sign up. And then,
how did it go? Did you get a good reception?
It would like vary based night to night. The first time I did open mic, I just went with a couple friends, and then they dared me to do it because I just had like some random jokes I thought of on my head written down on my phone, and then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. And then
they're like, Mitch, get your ass up there.
Like right before it started, they like come up to me and they're like, "Hey, we signed you up. You're going up." And I was like, damn, all right, I guess I got you. So then I went and took a few cocktails down, and
there you go.
Yeah,
loosen you up.
Yeah, no, it really did. And then I just went up there when they called me, and I just like read the jokes on my phone. I didn't. The only people that laughed were the friends that I came with, because they got it, but it was like not good at all.
Really?
No, but then like after the 5 minutes were over, like you felt good. You didn't. They're like, it's not a big worry that what I just did. I mean, nobody cares.
Right.
It's just open mic,
and people are gonna forget about it. Probably tomorrow night. Like, it's not something that you won't forget it. You're like, wow, no one laughed at my joke.
Yeah, but then the thing is, like, you'll never see those people again in your life, most likely.
Right.
And plus, like, I don't know, it's not embarrassing if you go up and like fail. I mean, it is for like a little bit, but it's not as bad for them as it is for you. Like, you're probably harder on yourself than other people would be.
Right. But like you could also say like, dude, that's my first time doing comedy and I was unprepared. Like my friends signed me up and I didn't know. Like you can't really have too many expectations going into it. Like if you had been doing it for a few months and then you bombed fucking ass and there was just crickets, then you probably like, wow, that was rough. I might need to rethink this.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, definitely, like, you can use that excuse, like, oh, I just started, but that only lasts for, like, so long until you're like, okay, I've done it, like, 5 times, I should be better now.
Right.
Yeah.
Did it help you, like, did you rethink the way that you structured the jokes after it didn't work a few times? Did you actually put more thought into it, like, write it out?
I'd say I probably, like, got rid of, like, 80% of the jokes I wrote, and then just sort of, like, I just sort of, like, took the jokes that, like, hit, like, that were relatable to people, and then just sort of had that mindset when I, like, thought of something else that I thought was funny, and then turned that into a joke. But, I mean, again, I'm, like, I've done it only a handful of times, and that was, like, a year ago, a little less than a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm, like, actively doing it all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did that make you, you know, like, were you anxious beforehand to go up there and do stand-up comedy? Like, do you not care about that stuff as much? Like, if you were to do it today,
Oh, yeah.
from that experience, or were you still like, this is terrifying?
Yeah, I'd be freaked out for sure at the beginning, but then, like, once I got up there, I'd be like, oh, okay, this is, like, I'm used to it a little bit more, but, like, the first time I did it, I was petrified, and I had, like, trouble breathing, but now I can do it and, like, breathe normal. Yeah.
Do you watch Bo Burnham at all?
No.
You ever heard of him?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've heard of him.
He's a comedian, but he also, like, the way that he does his stand-up is that he incorporates, like, instruments and songs out of it, too.
Yeah, okay.
And he battles with, like, I don't know if it's severe, but I know he had a lot of issues with anxiety. And actually, you know, there was, like, a few weeks ago, I watched this clip on YouTube. It was, like, a 30-minute short documentary about all these comedians that struggle with anxiety and depression. Mm-hmm. And it seems like, and I've heard Joe Rogan say this, too, that there's, like, this common theme with comedians is that they're, like, fucked up in the head, and that's what makes their work so special, is that they come up and they make people laugh, like, and they say sinister shit that you probably shouldn't be allowed to get away with saying. But, you know, our culture censors things that are bad, and, like, comedy makes people laugh and come together, and, like, no one gets in trouble. Like, I don't know if you watch the Sober October recaps that Joe Rogan does, but the one that they did just this last year, Ari Shaffir drugged Bert Kreischer with Molly, and they did I think Ari and Bert did Bert's podcast together, and Ari drugged him, and then they all came together to do the Sober October recap, and that's when, like, Bert was still upset with Ari, and the whole comedian community was, like, upset at Ari, but no one casted him out. They're like, you made a mistake and you need to apologize, and now the friendship's fine. But it's just crazy, dude. They're all tricksters. Like, I just have, like, such a fascination with it, and I would like to try stand-up comedy or do something like that. I've been thinking about joining a club on campus here called House on the Improv, where you get up and you talk. Or you do things. Yeah, because I just think it would be so uncomfortable, but, like, it's always uncomfortable until you actually try it. All those things that you think are so uncomfortable, getting out of your comfort zone, they're not bad, and you grow as a result. Like, once you get through, you're like, man, that wasn't that fucking bad. Like, you're like, man, these people don't care. It's just one night. It's 5 minutes out of your entire life. It's not do or die.
No, and people, the worst part about being anxious is just the lead up to it. Once you get to it, it's like, whatever. But it's always the lead up of the anxiety that just, like, kills you. So, like, if you just, like, if I was like, Cole, alright, I'm taking you in my car, we're going to do open mic right now. You'd be, like, freaked out a little bit, but like, I'd be like, you'd still do it. You just say F it and try. But if I, like, told you, like, hey, Cole, 1 week from today, you're coming with me and we're gonna do comedy, you'd be in your own head that whole week, just, like, thinking, like, oh, am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? Right. Yeah.
So, and, you know, you probably wouldn't have done it unless your friends pulled you on stage to do it. It's like, hey, man, we signed you up, so get up there. But also the adverse effect, you could give yourself a week to prepare. But I'd probably do the same thing. I'd be like, it's kind of like when, you know, you have a test, or, like, you gotta stand up and give a presentation, and you just can't stop thinking about it. Like, a week from now, I'm gonna be talking up there in front of these people, and
so I always want to go first.
Oh no, for sure. You always want to just get it done, get it out of the way.
So I think that's mostly how people perceive, like, anxiety of, like, doing things they're afraid of.
Yeah.
Taking their time.
Do you struggle with anxiety at all?
I've had, like, had like moments where I've had like periods of anxiety where I'm just like think about like what's going on in the world and what's happening that I can't have control over, and those, yeah, I'd say I get pretty anxious with stuff like that.
Like more worldwide stuff, like imminent threat to our safety, or like things with yourself, like
it could be both, honestly. Like I think sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I have trouble with like accepting people, or like people accepting me for what I like how I am, and so I can get anxious like over that.
Yeah.
Like going to an event where I don't know anybody, and then I could also just be anxious about like day-to-day stuff in the world that happens like all the time. But
does it get to you, or do you just kind of like push it like, do you have a way of moving that anxiety and like a positive, like, you know, I think sometimes when I'm anxious I like to go and work out. I like to transfer that energy somewhere.
Yeah, no, working out's great when I'm anxious. Sometimes it can be like crippling, and then you just like there's nothing I can do really. But like playing guitar helps. Doing some yoga helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you meditate at all?
I haven't. I've tried it.
It's so hard.
My old bosses, yeah.
It's so hard, dude.
Have you tried it?
I have, and I actually had luck doing it but I think the thing with anything that you try is you just have to keep doing it, and it depends on how anxious you are. So if you tend to be a very anxious person, which maybe you are, and I think that's a tendency that I've gotten myself into, that way of thinking, is that you have to do it more often than the general person who just doesn't experience it. And so for me, when I got into it, I was still living up in Ames, and it was before school started, and Dakota and I did it together. We would do it in the living room. We had 2 couches, so I'd sit on one, he would sit on one, and we did it in 10-minute segments. We did 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes around lunch, and then 10 at night. And it was hard at first, but at some point, if you've done it enough, you start to get a rhythm and a feel for it, that it almost became like as soon as I closed my eyes, I slipped into the meditative state.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, man, when it was working, because you could literally, the way that I described it is that you could see your thoughts. They're like almost on a string, and they just like, they like line up and they come and then they go. And you don't connect with them, you don't identify with them, you just see them and then they go. And so that's like a thing with anxiety or depression, is we tend to identify with our thoughts if the thoughts are saying that, oh, we're not good enough, I'm anxious, things are getting crazy out of hand, I can't control this. Whereas, you know, meditation, yoga, mindfulness is teaching you to be aware of your thoughts, but not attached with them. And so you just let them pass by, and you realize they are just thoughts. Mm-hmm. Emotions and feelings only last for about 90 seconds, and then they wash away. Right. But then there's people that see, like when you have an emotion, when you're angry, you see through the lens of anger, and it grips you. Yeah. That's not you. Yeah. That's just you when you're angry. So yeah, it's just about repetition, but it's really hard. It's like a muscle. It's just like being in the gym. It's like the more reps that you give it, the stronger it's gonna get.
Yeah. The more you keep practicing, like, the more, you just get into a flow with things.
I would have never guessed you'd be a guy to do yoga.
Yeah.
You're a tall, like, lengthy guy. Same here.
Yeah, that's why I think I need it more than anything, honestly. Because I mean, I'm tall, and I've been just really tight, and for like my whole life I just haven't had flexibility, and so.
Has that tightness increased since you started working out more?
No, if anything, I'm way looser and like limber.
Really?
Due to my active, like, conscious thinking of, like, I can't squat if I pull back, you know. I gotta stay limber, I gotta stay healthy at all times.
Do you feel that your anxiety isn't as bad when you work out? Is it, because that's, you know, one of the ways to combat anxiety or depression is to work out more often.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that sentiment. Like, I don't care nearly as much about the worries of the day if I've had a workout. And then, you know, working out gives you just a ton of dopamine, like a dopamine rush, you know, that you love.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And it's just so, Well, so when you do yoga, do you do hot yoga at all? Have
I've
you
never
ever tried
done
that?
it, no.
That shit is amazing, man. That is like a drug.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, seriously, the few times that I've done it, you get out of there. It's like getting out of a sauna, and you go outside, and it could be a cold December day, but the sun is coming down, and you just feel it. Like, you're present, you're here, and you're just enjoying your surroundings. It's just so amazing. Like, we at the Indianola YMCA, they need to get a sauna, a steam room, something of that nature, because there are so many benefits to it. And so, I don't know, that's kind of the hard thing with lifting sometimes, is that you can't always get that like sweat unless you're doing a lot of weight. And then even for me, I got to do like high intervals in between. Otherwise, I don't really sweat that much.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. But totally with like, well, I don't think the YMCA would have enough funding for that. First of all,
We could raise some money for them. I got some ideas, man. I want a steam room.
I think I think up in the Des Moines YMCA they might have one.
They have a sauna.
Yeah. I've seen it.
Have you ever been in a sauna or a steam room?
Oh yeah, at Iowa I was in there all the time.
Which one?
Sauna.
Have you ever been in a steam room?
I've done steam rooms after like a workout, and those just like suffocate me. I hate it. It's so humid.
It definitely takes some getting used to. I remember the first time because up in Ames, the place where I worked at, they had one, and I couldn't even go like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing, is like, for some reason, I have like no sense of smell. I don't know if I have like small nostrils or something.
Yeah.
But after doing the steam room for about a few weeks, I could handle like 15 to 20 minutes in there.
Yeah.
And my sinuses just cleared up. Where the sauna, because the difference between the sauna and the steam room is the sauna is like over 200 degrees, but the humidity percentage is only like 30. But the steam room is 100 degrees, but it's 115% of humidity. So you're sweating. It is like just throwing steam up your fucking nose.
Yeah, it's good for hangovers. I like the steam room for hangovers. But yeah, besides that, I've just always been a sauna admirer. I like being in saunas. You can do like you can do yoga in saunas for a little bit.
Yeah.
The one in Iowa, when there'd be nobody in the sauna, you could just do like a quick like high intensity interval training with like push-ups, jumping jacks, body squats.
Yeah.
And you get a great warm up or
I would do like meditation in the steam room, and man, I just felt so clear. Like, if I ever had anxiety going into that thing, it was completely stripped away the moment I walked out. And I remember I got back to the apartment one day after my workout and after being in the steam room, and I just got a strong whiff of dog shit. And I was like so happy that I could smell dog, because I'm so used to having my senses stripped, like my sense of smell, that I was so excited to smell dog shit. I was like, that's fresh dog shit.
That's good, yeah. I should try that sometime.
Yeah, man. It's like a drug.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking drug. It opens you up to a whole new world, like when you can smell again.
Dude, I'd always, the sauna would always be next to the steam room. It's in the Iowa Rec Center. And so I'd always be sitting in a sauna and look at like some crazy motherfucker in the steam room that I was like, I can't believe you're in there for as long as you are.
Yeah.
I can only do up to like 30 minutes max, like in a sauna, but.
Yeah. I remember there's a lot of times where there's like some old dude in his underwear in the steam room, and you're like, all right, what kind of conversation are we going to have? There was this big dude that was in there one time, and I don't know, I just started talking to him. I'm like, well, we're in here. It doesn't have to be awkward, man. But there's always some older gentleman in there with just his underwear. You're like,
there's always a naked dude and the old dude in the YMCA locker room too, I realized. Or like almost any gym you go to, there's a naked old man who doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, I don't care what you think about my body.
Yeah, back when Simpson had the pool at their campus. We're on Simpson right now.
Yeah.
You remember when they had the pool?
Yeah.
They had their own one.
Yeah.
It was where like the weight room is now.
Mm-hmm.
One time I walked into the locker room and I saw Mr. Bean.
Oh.
And I saw him naked in there. I was like back in middle school. I was like, this is weird. You're like my teacher, dude. I walked out like, dude, I just saw Mr. B naked. Just ruined me.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience where I walked in.
Someone that you knew?
I was at the pool, and a pool, and it was like one of my friends' dad. He was naked.
Oh no! What'd you say?
I didn't say anything. I just like slid the curtain back. I was in the little showers, and I'm like, I didn't see that.
Never mind.
But that's one of those memories I can remember from my childhood.
Right. Well, okay, here we go. Let's go back to memory. Were we talking about that beforehand? No, we're talking about being comfortable at our parents' house. Well, I guess we could do either one, but yeah, like memory. So okay, I think we got away from that. Like, is there anything? I gave you that example. Is there anything that you recall it happening, but you don't necessarily remember the specifics of it? Or like your childhood, like are there things that you just can't seem to remember?
Yeah, I think I remember, or I remember that I think I remember hanging out or like at a park at the Denver Zoo in Colorado when I lived there as a kid, and then I would be like playing on like this dinosaur like swings or like this playground, and then like some other kids like older, meaning like 5 or 6, came over and just like pushed me and then like making fun of me.
Damn.
And then I don't know why that's just the first thought that came to my head, but I'm like, I think that did happen, but I don't know. I'll have to check in with my mom.
Right.
I don't think I think she didn't think she ever took me there.
Yeah.
So that's weird. That's
maybe it was a different park or something.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure. I think I remember. I think I remember it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like memories are fragile, and then there's just a lot of like. I would think that screwing your first girlfriend is something that you'll never forget. But for some reason, I can't recall that first time. I remember the first time we attempted because we were at her house and she told me that we had like 10 minutes to do it because her mom was coming over, and I was like, for one, it's your first time, and so you're like already shriveled up, and then I'm like, well, you're putting all this pressure on me to perform in 10 minutes. I can't do that, and so. It didn't work. It didn't work. I'm like, dude, your mom's gonna come home and then see me humping your daughter. It's like her daughter. It's like that can't happen.
That's one of those embarrassing, like funny, like what do we do in moments.
Yeah. That's like the part about high school. Like, it was just so awkward to do that stuff. Like we're just kids, just trying to figure shit out.
Yeah.
Like. High school was so weird.
Yeah. It's a growing moment of everybody's life, I think.
Did you like your high school experience? Are you satisfied with it?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I never like to look back and like regret, but
you and I didn't really talk much in high school. Like I think we always knew of each other, but I don't think we really started talking until we got older and we were out of high school.
I think you're right. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty cool with most people, but sometimes you just never get the interaction that like sparks a friendship or something.
It's like you knew everyone in your grade, but you'd never talk to everybody in your grade. Like you knew of them, but it just there's some people that it's like, okay, I saw you for like 4 years, but we never talked. And then you see them as you get older, like outside of like high school, you're like, should I say hi to them?
Yeah,
like,
Tori Halda at the Walmart or somebody.
She worked there?
I don't know. I think I've seen her about
Did you say
a couple
hi?
times at Walmart. No, I don't say hi. I think she's gonna. I don't say hi.
Just walk the other way? I mean, pretend like I didn't see her?
Sometimes I don't need to say hi to somebody to like get a satisfaction of it. Like I could just be like at like I don't know the store like Hy-Vee, and I'll see like an old teacher. I don't need to say hi to them, but it's like good to know that they're still here and they're just still.
I do it because I want to test and see if they remember me. So like I saw Mrs. Skolin, and she works pharmacy at Hy-Vee, and I come up to her and there's no so it's like there's no way for her and I to avoid each other because I'm buying something from the counter. She's checking me out, but I'm like, hey, and I start smiling, and she's smiling back at me. I'm like, do you remember me? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, you don't. I'm like, tell me my name. And she's like, I don't remember your name, but I remember your face. And I'm like, Cole Poots, and she's like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, you were in this class with me, and
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, you got a good memory.
Yeah. I had that same experience with Mr. Busby. I don't know if you had him. He was like a student teacher for 8th grade when we were in 8th grade, and he like went to Simpson, and then now he like works for
Is that
Simpson.
the dude with the mustache?
He does have facial hair. Yeah, he's got a
Or wait, is that I
Beard.
might be thining of Mr. Summy, the dude that's got like.
No. Mr. Busby, he was a student. He's like a young guy.
Okay.
He works here now, but I saw him and him and his family at Brick House, and then I was serving them, and then I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember, you were my student teacher, and he's like, oh yeah, of course, I remember you, and then we chatted a little bit, and he's like, well, thanks for like saying something to me.
Mhm.
Like, he thought that meant something, so maybe I should say hi to more people when I recognize them.
Yeah, I try and, as an anxious person, I think the best thing that's helped me is doing more of that and like putting my focus outwards instead of on myself, because when you get really anxious, it's like you're very self-conscious about whatever it is that you're doing, like you tend to tune into that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more that I've tried to approach people and be more approachable in general, it's helped my anxiety to not be so like uptight and like, oh my god, as soon as they say hi, I'm like, hi, it's like a delayed response, and then I just walk on like feeling all awkward for having a terrible interaction.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like I get a little anxious about why sometimes when I see people that I kind of recognize, or like you even. I just don't like I want to say hi. I'm like saying hi in my head, but like when I'm working out, I just don't like to talk to anybody. I just like to zone in, and so I do my best of ignoring everybody. Like,
right.
I mean, they might think I'm like a jerk or something, but I really am just like, I'm just so focused on this. I don't want to talk to people.
Right. Yeah. And what's hard about that is, so for my job being a wellness coach, last year we kind of initiated this new program where we're supposed to go up and try and talk to the people like you guys that have headphones in.
Yeah.
Because you guys are the type of members that you're coming there just strictly to work out. You don't have like a class. There's no like community sense for you. Like you're just doing your thing on your own. And so to retain members, they want us to go up and talk to the people that have their headphones on that probably don't conversate with the front desk wellness coaches. But it's like that's why you're there. You're focused. You're lasered in. So I'm always like, it's not that I don't want to go up and talk to them, but I know how it is. I work out. Sometimes it's an inconvenience. It sucks because I know so many people at the Y from working there, and then on top of like people I went to high school with, that every time I'm in there, I see somebody that I know, and it's like, oh hey, and then we have a conversation, and it's like, well, I gotta work out, but I would love to talk to you. It's just not now. Otherwise, I'd be here for 2 hours, and usually that's how it is, man. Is I'm there for too long, because I've talked to too many people.
Do you think? One of those times, one of your coworkers, like, I was doing a workout by my own, and like in like a little corner at the Y, and I was just like hammering like stuff out, and she like stops me in the middle, and she like walks up to me, and she's like, "You having a good workout?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and then she was just like, "Man, Mondays can some days be the worst, right?" And I was like, "What?" And then she was just like, "Oh, well, have a good time," or she said like, "Have a good workout," or something like that, and I'm like, "Okay."
Who's that?
I don't know. I don't
What'd she
remember.
look like?
She was like, honestly, she kind of looked like everybody that works at the Y, like maybe 30 to 40-year-old white woman who's like probably got like a family or like a little kid, something like that. I don't know, honestly. She had like glasses and brown hair. I remember that.
Okay.
But that was like not that long ago. And so I was like, why is she
You're like,
trying
what
to
was the
talk to
point
me?
of that?
Yeah, so I guess I know now a little bit.
Yeah, see, so I guess there's people that are more comfortable with doing it. Like I said, I understand it. For me, lifting is that if I have my headphones in, I'm trying to get it done, but, I don't know. I think that's the positive side of the Y is it is very community driven, and I love the fact that there's people that I know there. That's what makes the experience for me is like saying hi to people, and that's why I love being a wellness coach, and I've been working there for over 4 years and haven't gotten rid of it. It's like I've made a lot of friends and a lot of people that I consider family now through the gym. Yeah, a lot of coworkers, people that I met working out up there. My friend Angie, like that's how I met that whole side. Is like just slowly talking to each other. Like, again, it was small interactions. Like, you kind of, they came in the same time that you worked out, and so you'd be across them, like, where the lockers were, and then just at some point you strike up a conversation. I just want to do, I hate being anxious, so that's why I want to do more of that stuff, because you can't ever get rid of anxiety, but you can definitely change that story that you're telling yourself that's making you more anxious. Because really, it's just, everybody has something interesting to say. Every stranger does. Everybody's different. You can learn something from everybody.
Yeah, everybody's got a story, a unique way that like brings you together. It seems kind of weird, but
what's your story?
It's fate. What do you mean?
I don't know. Are you writing your story right now?
Yeah.
Trying to go for environmental science?
Yeah, everybody's got a book that they're writing every day.
What chapter are you on with yours?
If I had to guess, it'd probably be like if it's like a biography.
Are we going like a novel, or?
It'd be like chapter 7, and it'd be titled like.
Chapter 7.
It'd be like chapter 7, and it'd be just like.
What would the chapter title be?
And then that's it'd be like, how did I end up here?
There you go.
Or no, what would be like, deja vu all over again.
Yeah.
Back in Indianola.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's dig into that. So, okay, comfortability. What do you, was it your choice? Like, did you choose to come back, or like you didn't really have a choice?
Yeah. So after I graduated from Iowa, I moved out to Colorado, and I was working a seasonal job out there. And so I was gone for a while. But when I was there, it was a temporary job to begin with, but it just was really hard in terms of like meeting people, finding new friends, like living in the mountains where there aren't many people. And so that ended. I ended it a little bit earlier, and then so I was like, well, I don't want to stay here in this cabin by myself anymore. Like, there's only one place to go, and I'd just be home. And so, I'd just been back home, just mostly job searching while I work. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking about going to Texas, right? You were looking for something.
Yeah, I did have. I had an interview there, but it had to have been like the next in 2 days. It was in 2 days, and it was in person, and it was a 13-hour drive, and so I had to cancel on that. But I still have possibilities in Texas.
All right, so you're looking to branch out somewhere that's not local, like you don't want to stay in Iowa?
Yeah, I think I want to get out of Iowa.
Do you think it'll be different this time? Like, did you like Colorado, or was that the thing? Is like you kind of felt lonely and then came back, and then it was just the best decision for you?
No, this definitely isn't the best decision for me, but I loved Colorado. It was just that, it was a temporary job to begin with, and then so after that ended, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't have any friends out there. I wasn't gonna move. I don't know. I didn't want to get an apartment in Denver without having a job lined up. I sort of I just didn't, I think I thought I planned on being back home for just not that long. I haven't been home long, by any means, but I just would have thought that I would have thought the steps through before I took them,
But, sometimes that's just where life takes you, is that, like, we can't really plan for it. I'm not trying to sound religious or anything, but I was, like, devastated when Iowa State and all that didn't work out, because I had talked about it so much, and I had said, this is what I'm going to do. I wrote about it in my journal. I'm like, forestry, this is going to take me out to California at some point, and then it all crumbled, and then I was like, well, can I even trust myself then? Can I even believe myself? Am I ever capable of doing this again? I have to go back to my parents' house? This was supposed to be my opportunity to get out. This was me going outside of the nest, like flying, flocking my wings, and instead now I'm coming back to my parents' house. I'm coming back to Indianola, where all my problems started.
Yeah.
And they're going to be right in front of me again.
Yeah. How come it didn't work out, do you think, in the first spot?
It's a mixture of things. I was going through a breakup, and I found out some things as I got up there that kind of... I think I was already just not very stable when I moved up there, and I don't think I took into account, like, I think at that point I had made decisions because I've been a people pleaser for a long time, and it's not what I truly wanted to do. It's what I felt like I had to do.
Yeah.
And so the relationship crumbled. That really fucked me up, and I still am dealing with that. And then I just started getting sick. Like, I started throwing up, and it lasted for like 5 weeks. That I finally told the college that I was like, I am trying to go to school. I'm still doing homework, but I'm getting sick. I don't know what to do. And so then they told me to come up with a timeline, and luckily I had a doctor's note from the first time I went to go see the doctor. I got sick on like the first or second week, and so then they decided I didn't have to pay anything for the semester. They gave all my money back, and the job that I had up there wasn't working out. It was just, everything felt like it's kind of like one of those situations where, again, like, I'm not really religious, but like, you just feel like it wasn't meant to be for as much as things were going wrong. And then, I don't know, I would call my mom every day, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know I'm doing something wrong. I don't know what it is. And then she kind of was like the first one that was like, well, you could always move back. And I'm like, yeah, but should I? And she's like, I mean, you know, that might be just time that you need to process things and just, you know, relax, and then you can go back out again. And at first, I thought, you know, moving back was going to help. I actually got more depressed, more anxious when I came back. And then right around January is when things started finally slowing down for me. And then I'm going back to Simpson now, so that's helped. Starting the podcast has really helped. And getting back in the gym, regaining my confidence. And now, you know, I'm just finally at a point where I feel better. I don't feel great, but I feel like I'm at least back on, I'm back in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas before I was like, I'm down, I'm out for the count, and I can never get over these things.
Do you feel like it has something to do with the new year, or was that like a New Year's resolution, or do you just like that's just when it happened?
It was definitely because of that, and again, like, I don't really feel like one of those people that makes like a New Year's resolution, but I made a post about mental health on January 1st, and then for New Year's we went out to we were actually downtown drinking, me and my friends, and then
I think I saw you there actually.
Yeah, I did see you.
Yeah,
we started at oh my God, Hessen House.
Hessen House is great.
And so my friend Angie Sorensen.
I think I did meet her. She came in to Smoky Row one time. And
she goes there a lot actually.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's weird because I'm fine talking to people when I'm not at the gym, but like when I'm at the gym, I see her, but I don't say anything.
Right.
But it's just again, just reiterating, it's like nothing like personal. I just like, don't like talking.
Just don't talk.
But yeah.
No, but she brought her sister Beth, who lives in Florida, and that was the first time I met her. And Beth is an ENFJ, that's her personality type, and I'm an ENFP, and we striked up a conversation based on personality types, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, why'd you ask me about that? Because my therapist had made me take that test like a few weeks before that. And ever since then, her and I will talk like as much as we can. She's busy with school, I'm busy with school, but she was one of those people that kind of helped me. And then I just realized that night that going out and doing that and then meeting her, like those type of things, I realized that every time I worry about this relationship that's not working, this person that has hurt me so much, it's like there's other people to meet. There's more things to do. It's not just what you hype up in your head, this depression, whatever it is. That's not just it. There's so much more. And that just kind of gave me a little bit of hope. And then ever since then, it hasn't been great. Like you have bad days and whatnot, but I just feel better. I feel lighter. And the more that I get away from that person and that situation and do things for me that I enjoy, it's just been like, I'll get there. And I think as a society, they've taught us that we have to work constantly, and we're never paying attention to what we truly want to do, and we burn ourselves out. It's like, I don't have to figure out everything right now. I'm 22. I don't need to know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I'll just go back to school, finish, just do things that you enjoy. But instead, we have so much pressure on our generation as a society that thinks we have to accomplish all these things, do all these great things. Like we see that on social media, we see people striving, all this positivity, and that's like what we're working for. And it's like, it takes so much time, and mental health takes a lot of time to regain that composure. Because you just identify with those thoughts and you start believing it. Whereas now, like I see those things come. Again, some days I get down about it, but I see them now and I'm like, nah, like I'm gonna go this way. And they just don't. They're just kind of here and then they go.
Yeah, you gotta focus really on your own. Just focus on yourself, and the comparison is like can be big too.
Yeah, you can't compare yourself to other people. That's the deadly sin.
Yeah.
You do yourself in as soon as you do that. But it's so hard. Like everybody
it's
does
impossible.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the tough things that I struggle with. That like you can struggle with that with like literally any like topic. Like, oh, I'm not as tall as that guy. Oh, I'm not as ripped as that guy. Oh, I'm not as smart as that guy. Oh, that guy is better looking. You could do that about like literally any characteristic.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think. What's important is just to be compassionate towards yourself, because then you don't have to live up to all those expectations like you can just be secure in the fact that you know you're good enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think social media has kind of put that on display for us. Is like that was already something that humans did, is they compared themselves to others, but now we have it on a grand scale. You see all your friends, family, and I realize with mental health, if there's people on there that we have like I think under 10 minutes.
We're good.
If you see people on social media, you know, like essentially pretending that they're at this place of, you know, they've worked hard to get to, and that's all you see them post, and it makes you feel like shit, don't follow them. Get away from that. If it hurts your mental health, if you start doing that, fucking not block them. Maybe you like them, but maybe that's all they post, and it's not helping you at all. Mute them so you don't see them. It's not helpful. It only makes things worse. Choose to follow the people that you know inspire you and motivate you.
Yeah, that's huge. I'm just unfollow them sometimes, you know. Yeah.
I mean, even if it's for a few months, man, just unfollow them. You can always follow them back. It's not like they're going anywhere.
Yeah, I've done that a few times.
See them in the gym. What's up, man? And then they don't know that you unfollowed them. You're just like, they're muted.
I've gotten caught a couple of times following people. There are like apps that you can like download show you.
Were they mad at you?
Called out. A little bit. I mean, nobody really cares.
So stupid. You don't follow me. You don't like me.
Yeah, it's not
okay.
Like nobody really cares what I think about them most of the time.
What if we didn't have social media? We wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
You'd see that person. You just see him in general, and then if you actually did hate him, they would never know.
Yeah. Sometimes.
If that's the case, you know, maybe you were just doing it for the betterment of your mental health.
Sometimes, you know, you just, I don't know, like, you just sort of maximize, like, now in today's age, you gotta, like, be connected with as many people as possible. Like, back then, you could, like, you know, be connected to anybody outside of, like, face-to-face interaction.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I mean, I think, like, social anxiety is such a big thing. It's like, our parents, they didn't have phones. All they, like, if they wanted to hang out with their friends, they just went up and found them. Like, they went to their house and picked them up, or talking to girls. That's something that I'm still not good with, and it's like it's so intimidating. But at this again, what the heck is wrong with fear of rejection? Like, you just try it again and keep trying. It's like with stand-up comedy. The more that you do it, probably the more comfortable you become with it.
Yeah.
It's an internal battle in your head. It's nothing. It's nothing personal if they don't like you, and maybe they're just awkward with it, that like they've never had somebody come up and compliment them. So like, and they're probably more anxious than you are. To be honest.
Yeah. How do you approach them usually at the gym?
Well, you know, I'm pretty rusty with it from being in a off and on relationship for a while. So I haven't. It's been a while, but I've been thinking about it, and it just pisses me off because I'm always have the thought to go do it. But then I would never do it. And then I'm like, why the fuck didn't you do it?
Just like going up and talking to them, or like sliding in the DM?
I think you can definitely compliment them, but I think it has to be more of a conversation, because that's what I think girls are always expecting, and that's why they put their headphones in, or they put up a wall, because they're so used to guys coming to them with very blank comments that are like just stupid and just aren't needed. But if you try and have a conversation with them, I think they'd appreciate that much more. It's like, okay, you're not just an object.
Yeah.
We're having a conversation like you and I are right now.
Yeah.
And then after that, maybe you can work your way in and ask for her number and say, hey, like, I really enjoyed meeting you. Like, can I take you out sometime, or you want to hang out outside of the gym, or the gym is a hard one because it's just kind of creepy either
It is
way.
very creepy, yeah.
And they have their headphones in, and I'm just like, how do you get around that? You know?
Yeah, I just think you shouldn't at all, unless they're like, well, I just ask because you're there, you work there, you're there a lot. You can always like say something to them as they're
Dude,
like
trust
walking
me.
in and out.
Yeah,
You know?
I want to though, but it seems like girls have built up a defense mechanism because they've been penetrated by other guys. That sounds really bad, penetrated by other guys, but they've encountered so many guys that don't understand the code, and I don't know if there is a universal code, but there's just a way to talk to people, and there's a way to not talk to people.
Yeah, especially the gym.
Yeah. But there's that. See, it is the hard one because it's like they're attractive. Like you see them in their spandex or whatever, and like, man, as a guy, you want to pounce, but you have to keep it contained.
Yeah, I don't think approaching a woman in the gym is like a good idea at all.
But what if you're just talking to her? Like, what if you just strike up a conversation about like maybe okay. Again, it kind of sounds weird because like you're talking about a shirt, but maybe she has a graphic on there. Like, let's say she's got Life Rips, and Mitch is like, "Oh, Life Rips? What's up with that? You like Chris D'Elia?"
Yeah.
And then you start a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then it's not creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, except it might not last very long. Like, if you're anything like me, you just like you'd be like, "Yeah, it's Chris D'Elia. All right, cool. I gotta go back to my work."
Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you got to go deeper with it, because if she likes Chris D'Elia, maybe you start having a conversation about comedy, and she's like, "Have you ever done stand-up comedy?" And you're like, "Yeah, I've actually tried it like 6 times.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Want to come to one of my shows?" Like,
yeah, yeah I've had somebody come up to me and like point this exact sweatshirt out and be like, "Life Rips, you're a baby." Like that's what Chris D'Elia's fans call each other. And then and I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so. You know, what's up? You know, how's it going?" And she's like, "Oh, my boyfriend and I always watch him." And I'm like, "Oh,
damn it! I thought you were gonna say something else."
No.
Yeah, that's rough.
And so it's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes, yeah, you're right. Clothing can be a good indicator, like a conversation starter.
I think it always can be. Again, I think it's just, I don't know, fear of rejection is just such a, like, intimidating thing, and judgment, too, from other people. Like, I don't know, for some reason, it's so bad with our generation is we're just, like, incapable of having conversation, approaching women, and, it's like... I don't want to hoe around, but I want to meet a girl, so I have to put myself out in the field and get rejected a few times because it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. You can't avoid it.
You could always use Tinder. That helps a lot too.
See, but that shit never works out, and I think that those girls are just on there to hook up. Like, there's very few wife material type girls on there, and that's what I'm looking for.
Are you? So you've tried it before?
I have it right now, but I have no luck with it at all.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, being in Indianola is a tough place for that.
Yeah.
Des Moines is a little bit better, but yeah, what's up with that? I mean,
I don't know, man. There's one called Bumble, I think, and that's where the girl has to approach you first.
Mm-hmm.
But see, you get yourself into a whole other complex right there, because I think just in terms of biology, the guy is supposed to approach the woman. Mm-hmm. She's supposed to show the enticing face, like, "Hey, I'm okay with you coming up and talking," like giving you like a smile, like an approaching gesture, and then you make the move. Yeah. I think the girls that say things first are a little crazy because they don't get much attention, so they're not fearing any rejection at all. They're like, "Let's just see if it works."
Yeah, I think that's just more because there's I bet there's like a bigger ratio of guys to male to female on that app.
Yeah.
And so like males will send out a ton of messages, but females will probably just like scroll through a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Like she gets, and so yeah. So maybe I don't know. Maybe it just helps for the interaction. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just I don't know if Tinder's really I don't know if dating apps are the way to do it. And I'm not really like a big bar life type guy, so I probably wouldn't find my chick there either. So it's like, okay, well, where do I go then? The library?
Yeah, exactly.
Starbucks?
I was gonna say
Smoky Row?
Yeah, Smoky Row. Yeah, Smoky Row is a great spot.
Probably a lot of intellectual women in there, you know, drinking their coffee, doing work.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's also just a lot of other regular like grandmas too. We get
That's
a lot of
true.
those, but
So how would you see? That's a question I had because I've actually been up at Smoky Row. I'm like, man, there's some cute girls that are sitting by themselves, but what do you do? Like, you just go intrude, and despite what they're doing, like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Like,
I've never approached a girl or anybody at Smoky Row, to believe it or not, but there was this one time, it was like mid-afternoon, it was like 3 or 4 p.m., and me and a couple of my friends were just like at the front, like I was on register, and they were making the drinks, and then like this cute like presumptuously like Drake student girl like walks in, and she's like overly nice and like smiley, and she's kind of like flirting with like how tall I was, and then I was like, all right, whatever, here's your drink, whatever. But then I didn't think anything of it, but then she wants to go sit down. My friend was like, oh yeah, dude, she totally wants you to like go talk, say hi to her. And I'm like, really? I don't think so. And they're like, yeah, that was definitely flirting. And I'm like, oh well. And I'm really bad at picking up like flirts.
well, I was just gonna say, like, as soon as you were saying that, I think you have to have a buddy with you that can like spot that, because I'm the same way. Like, sometimes I just don't notice it, like, because I'm like, she's just being nice, you know. Especially like one time I was in Zoomies and there was a girl working there, and then I was like, oh, she's kind of cute, and then Dakota came up to me, he's like, dude, she's like eyeing you, like she's looking at you. I'm like, whoa, really? I'm like, no, she's not. He's like, yeah, she was. You should go up and talk to her. And I see, but I wouldn't have noticed that. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Did you go up and talk to her?
I did, but it took a lot out of me. And then I found we have we're like Snapchat friends or whatever you can say. And I remember she put up a Snapchat one time, and it was like her bending down. She was doing like that pose where she goes like this, and you look at the camera, and I just saw like her round butt. I was like, oh my god, you look so good. And then I messaged her, and I was like, let me take you out to dinner. And then she was like, how old are you? I was like 22, and she's like, yeah, I'm 17. I'm like,
oh my god.
I was like, you don't look 17 at all. So that was like my closest opportunity. And yeah, man, they're just really young, and you can't tell. Yeah. You're like, gosh.
Dude, yeah, you see like people on TikTok, they're like girls that are like 12, but they look like they're 18.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's very, it just confuses you hardcore.
Well, and then you're like, you know, you find them attractive, and then you find out they're 12, and you're like, oh no, am I a pervert?
Yeah.
Am I like a sexual offender?
Yeah, usually, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, people just like, it's crazy how old kids can look.
Well, I think the lines are getting super blurred now for some reason. Like, girls just look older. I don't know if it's the same thing for guys, if that's like girls our age are like, oh my god, all these, not like all the middle school boys, you can tell they're middle school boys. Yeah. They come into the gym in like packs, like a hunt of wolves, but they don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, I didn't know daycare was open right now. And I'm like, they're all like taking their time on the machines that I need to use it. I'm like, you guys are just in here flexing.
Oh yeah.
Just flexing. That's all you're doing. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I hate that. But yeah, that's really funny actually. Yeah, that's good. That's happened. Well, it hasn't happened to me, but it's happened to somebody I've known.
Yeah.
Who like, a girl hits him up, and they like seem like they're the same age, and then she's like younger.
Yeah. I think we've all ran into that problem before.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know if your timer went off. It's been over an hour, at least from what I've been calculating.
Oh yeah, my thing went off.
All right, Mitch. Well,
we can end it here.
We're gonna cut it off. Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Yeah, fist bump now instead.
Fist bump?
Yeah, because people are doing fist bumps now because of the coronavirus. They're afraid. You know,
oh shit! Yeah. So I should probably put on some disinfectant.
No, just
are you contagious?
No, that'd be kind of actually a crazy way to like end a podcast.
Yeah.
I give you coronavirus,
and then I die.